As many of you know, London has a very incompetent mayor by the name of Sadiq Khan, and he sat down with the London Assembly whereby they put forth questions to him and he was incapable of answering. And that's a classic Sadiq Khan style tactic, you know, when you don't want to answer the question, just deflect or waste time. But anyway, guys, we're going to look at some of the best bits of, well, not best bits, worst bits of his hearing.
6 months ago, and you may well remember this, I asked you 8 times if we had rape gangs in London. Not only did you not know whether we had these gangs, but you didn't even seem to know what a grooming gang was. Just how many grooming gangs have we got in London?
Can she define what she means by that?
Can you confirm now that you actually know and understand what these grooming gangs are?
I think the member's in danger of misleading. There are no reported cases or indication of those sorts of grooming gangs.
Some will have seen the video when you constantly asked me what I meant by a grooming gang, and that's been seen by well over 1 million people. Would you still say that, if you look at some of your senior politicians, they say that anybody asking for a national inquiry are on a right-wing bandwagon?
Calling for inquiries because they want to jump on a bandwagon of the far right.
Would you agree with that?
This government asked Baroness Dame Louise Casey to look into this matter. She's made a recommendation last week, and I think the government's right to accept the recommendations.
You say that the Met said there was no gangs to look at, but Alexis Jay was surprised by that and thought that the Met needed to do more work. You weren't in favour of a national inquiry. The Prime Minister wasn't in favour of a national inquiry. In fact, the Prime Minister said people who are somehow far right, I think is the term he used. I was in favour of a national inquiry, and I certainly am not far right, so this demonstrates how he might be wrong. But my question to you, Mr Mayor, what has changed? What has changed to persuade you?
I've been quite clear that there are no reported cases of the sort of grooming we are talking about. But the Met aren't complacent, and they are vigilant, and they will look at whatever help they need to give the public inquiry. To put words in my mouth, saying them against the public inquiry, is what I call misinformation, disinformation, and a lie. And
so you were in favour of a public inquiry? This inquiry we're talking about now, you were in favour of that? Is that what you're suggesting? Because if you are saying that, I will stand corrected. What? When were you in favour of this national inquiry like you said you are? Chair, he knows I'm under time pressure, and he's going to, I'm going to have to leave it there because of time pressure, but you know you didn't do that.
It's a personal question. Would you like to apologise to Robert Jenrick?
No.
Do you think the correct response is to respond with name-calling and disparaging remarks? And would you like to take this opportunity to apologise to Robert Jenrick for taking that path on this occasion? It's just a simple question of whether you'd like to apologise. To be honest, I've got 3 boys. If I ask them if they need to apologise, they start reading a book to find out. I'd send them to their room. I mean, surely you're more mature than that. It's a personal question. Would you like to apologise to Robert Jenrick?
No.
OK. It's not the first time that you have had to apologise. When Assembly Member Fortune picked you up on TfL Performance, you called him thick. You are consistently rude. It is unbecoming of the Mayor. I really would hope that you take a look at your behaviour and conduct. Mr Mayor, I was confused in an exchange with Assembly Member Small Edwards. You seemed to be suggesting the £39 billion affordable homes programme. You knew the proportion of that was coming to London because you were saying it was a good deal for us. Could you confirm the proportion of that £39 billion that's coming to London?
Those are conversations we're having with MHCLG.
So it's worth pointing out we have no idea whether this is a good deal for London yet. The Chancellor specifically mentioned Blackpool, Preston, Sheffield and Swindon, but not London. We have no idea this is a good deal for us. But what we do know is that money, even if every single penny came to London, it wouldn't match the amount that you've said that London needs for an affordable programme.
Well, so the government's announced a record-breaking sum for affordable housing.
With due respect, for the last 50 minutes, I think you've been eating humble pie with your Labour Assembly members, suggesting that the government hasn't listened to you and hasn't done what London needs. But what we do know is that we got a much better deal from the last government than we currently have for this government on the affordable homes programme. So actually, when it comes to this £39 billion, we have no idea how much we're getting. But I don't think you want to answer that.
Now that Labour and Reform on the Assembly are lockstep in favour of building tower blocks on parks, will you at least rule out building on London's existing nature-filled parks?
I'm just not aware, Chair, what the member is referring to. I can't give a reasoned answer.
Will you at least rule out building on London's existing nature-filled parks?
It's a hypothetical question.
Will you at least rule out building on London's nature-filled real parks?
So, as a general proposition, we're not allowed to build on metropolitan open land.
I'm not asking about metropolitan open land. I'm talking about parks, things where you can walk your dog, your kids can go and play, where you can take in the nature of the area. Will you rule out building on parks? This would be a very simple thing for you to do. It's to say, no, I don't believe existing parks should be built on. It's tumbleweed at the moment. Will you rule out building on existing parks?
I'm quite clear. I'll stand by the London plan.
You're looking quite uncomfortable there because I've asked you a question that you aren't able to answer. And I think Londoners should get onto their web browsers and go to saveourgreenspaces.co.uk because we at least are speaking up for those parks. Do you think London could do with a better advocate for London's interests when talking to government?
I think Londoners can be best pleased with what we've managed to secure over the last 11 months, but also Londoners will be pleased to know it's not mission accomplished. I'm ambitious for more from the government, which is why I'll be lobbying for more from the government.
You've been whining about the fact that the government hasn't listened to you on what is an obvious case. As we all know, sitting around this table, investment in London is an investment in the UK. You haven't been able to persuade them. Should somebody else do it for you? Would you want to review your lobbying strategy to see where you could do better, or are you going to do the same again?
Guys, it's just a joke to Sadiq Khan. He is not taking any of this serious. He's not answering questions directly. You know, people want real answers, you know. What he's doing is having a direct impact on people's lives in London. And he doesn't care to give a straight answer. You know, he has contempt in his face when he's talking with like some of the females there. He has contempt, like he doesn't even want them talking to him. So yeah, Sadiq Khan's just not taking this serious. London has gone, it's gone downhill under a Sadiq Khan's mayorship. And on top of that, he gets knighted. You know, so I don't know what's going on with this Labour government. And, you know, these consistent failures is what's going to lead to their demise in the next election. I've always kept saying this. I'm going to keep on saying this. And if they can't get their act together, because this 1 year so far, it's gone very, very quick. Been very disastrous for this Labour government. And if they can't get their act together, which I suspect they won't, they're definitely not having a second term. I don't think the people in the UK can allow for this Labour government to have a second term because it will just be so disastrous, honestly. It couldn't get worse than how it is right now. You know, economy shrinking, crimes through the roof. He's getting, you know, gifted a knighthood, you know, just poor policy after poor policy. So yeah, I take no stick off of, you know, the Conservative Party. They were just as bad, 110%, but, you know, we need change again because this clearly isn't it. So yeah, but anyway guys, let me know in the comment section what you think. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.